Good morning from SowThankful Farm. Fall is definitely in the air. Oh my goodness, and so is the pollen. So if you hear me sniffling, sneezing, or coughing, it is pollen. Allergies, seasonal allergies. Juniper and ragweed can get high this time of year and they both affect me. So here we are in the greenhouse. Well, high tunnel. This is not a heated or cooled temperature controlled greenhouse. It is a high tunnel. And as you can see, the tomatoes are still doing pretty well. We have not had any freezes yet, but we have had temperatures nighttime down into the mid-30s. So it's coming soon, but I'm hoping I get a few more weeks of tomatoes. Take a little closer look here. As you can see, I've got some cracking. That is due to uneven watering. So we need to work on dialing that in for next year. But overall, I've been really pleased. Pretty good production. Here are my giant marigolds. These are the yellow ones. This plant got to be about 5 foot high and then it tipped over, and yeah, it's very prolific and beautiful. Let me show you to give you an idea of the scale of the bloom. These are about 3 inches across, maybe 3.5. And I've got some basil in here. That's what you see poking up here. This is, let me see. That is a Thai basil right there. I've also got some lemon basil and purple opal basil over here. This purple with the beautiful pink flowers. This purple opal basil. This one tastes a lot like traditional Italian basil Genovese. Very delicious. Here are some of my grape tomatoes. These are called Brad's Atomic Grape. The seeds are from Baker Creek, and I believe it's Wild Boar Farm, Brad Yates, who is the developer of those seeds. They are delicious, little flavor bombs. Some of them actually got quite big this year. They're more closer to plum size than grape size. Some orange marigolds. This plant too got up to about 5 feet. I need to trim it way back and deadhead. But these are doing great. Some nasturtiums climbing with my beans. This has all got to get pulled out and replanted. This year was an experiment for so many things. This is the first year that we've had a high tunnel. So I tried lots of different things. This tomato is called Lee's Sweet. It is a pink tomato. The shoulders like to stay a little bit green, but I find that it's quite sweet, even with the shoulders lightly green. More Brad's Atomic Grape. These ones are not ripe yet. It was tricky to get to know when they are ripe. So what I use as a gauge is when you see oranges and reds appearing, that's when they are ripe. And it is the most intense flavor. I can't recommend them highly enough. They're really great. Unique flavor. Variety of different tomatoes through here. Thessaloniki, Golden King of Siberia there, the yellow one. We've got some paste tomatoes down here. These are a paste tomato. Some more paste tomatoes. These are also Golden King of Siberia, and these ones are going to get really big, as you can see here. That's a big tomato. They're doing really well. It's one of my favorite flavors too. They've got a nice richness, good acidity, and sweetness. Good overall flavor. I love to use them on sandwiches, and also have been stewing them and putting them in sauces. Fantastic. Down at the far end of the tunnel, I've got, as you see, more nasturtiums. They got giant. This variety just got huge. And more giant marigolds. This plant got upwards of 6 feet tall and with blooms 5+ inches in diameter. Really fantastic. This is the second year of growing this seed, and they just grow beautifully here. I love them. They do a great job with keeping some of the pests away. They will be a standard on our farm. Taking a closer look at some of the tomatoes in this corner. This tomato is called Sartre. The seed is from Baker Creek Seeds, so rareseeds.com. I'm not affiliated. They're not sponsoring me in any way. It's just I use them often for finding good seeds. And this tomato will be yellow with purple, as you see the purple on the shoulders. And it is a very lovely tomato, nice and meaty, good juice. Not super acidic in my opinion, kind of a mild flavor, delicious on sandwiches. I will be growing that one again next year as well. And I was experimenting with a lot of things this year. As you can see, this corner is really packed. So I had Moon and Stars watermelon, really overgrown, got out of control. It was trellised up and it was doing beautifully. And I do actually have a little one back there, but I don't think I'm going to get anything out of it. It's way back there, kind of buried. I don't think I'll get anything useful out of it. Just the seed was a few years old, so probably beyond prime, and it was an experiment to see how crowded I could make things and get them to grow. So I learned. I'm not going to do that again next year. The nasturtiums, I'm loving them though. The color is so bold and bright and vibrant and lively. We will be growing these again next year as well, but probably spread things out a little bit more. I'm trying. I am notorious for packing things in as tight as I can get them, which has its benefits and liabilities. So, you know, takes a lot more work to manage things when you have them really packed in tight. The bell peppers are finally coming on. I battled aphids horribly in the heat of the summer, but because we don't use chemical pesticides, no synthetic chemicals at all, it was a struggle, but I kept them alive and now they are starting to produce really nice bell peppers. So I'm hopeful that I will get a few more before I have to pull everything. So that's pretty cool. And oh my gosh, the great loofah experiment. Never again will I grow loofah in my high tunnel. I had the sides screened to keep the gigantic grasshoppers and locusts out that decimated my garden last year. Several crops in my garden last year. And what happened was that blocked the pollinators. So I didn't get good pollination, even though I got really great growth on the plant. But this is a red torch Mexican sunflower. The seeds for this also came from Baker Creek, rareseeds.com. This is the first year I've grown this, and again I had it packed in really tight with my sunflowers, but now that I've pulled out the sunflowers that have died off, it is actually starting to thrive and bloom, and so I'm hopeful to get more flowers. The flowers are about 2.5 to 3 inches across, and this really spectacular orangey red, fiery red, just gorgeous. The leaves are really quite unusual. So it's not bug damage to the shape of these leaves, that's just how the leaves are shaped, and they're pretty spectacular. Really happy with that and want to be growing them again next year also. Melons and pumpkins. So these are Tommy apple melons, a cantaloupe variety. And then the little orangies are Jacoby little pumpkins. Kind of fun. Again, I crowded things. That's what happened. Probably would have gotten bigger fruit on the cantaloupe had I spread them out, and that's the plan for next year. We'll see if I can actually follow through and do that. Here are some winter or fuzzy melon, fuzzy melon. Fantastic. It's not like a summer melon that you would eat plain, though it's not poisonous if you did. It's traditionally used in cooking in Asian dishes, and it's really wonderful. So in stir-fry soups or stews, it takes on the flavors that are in your stew and adds a rich sweetness all its own, which is really beautiful. I love it, and I will grow that again next year. The long spiky flowers that are growing there, those are called lion's tail. That seed I got out of J&L Gardens out of Espanola, and it has grown beautifully for me this year. It's an unusual plant, and that's actually just one plant that has spread out like that. It's about 8 feet tall. Under ideal conditions, I've read that they can get upwards of 11 feet tall. That might be 9 feet, this one. But it is spectacular. And the seed for it is just ever so tiny. It is just mind-boggling that this plant gets so huge from such a tiny little seed. So I'm excited to grow this next year. I believe I'm going to try to use it in forming a hedgerow along my fence line. It seems to be drought tolerant and doing really well. So we do water it a little bit, but it stands up to the desert heat. Here we have Jacoby little pumpkins. These little darlings are a ton of fun. As you can see, they're just tiny little guys, but super fun to put on your table, decorate for the autumn season. Just love them. I super love pumpkins, in case you didn't guess.